Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, respected founders, innovators, partners, members of the media, and leaders of India's AI ecosystem. A very warm welcome to you all. We're proud to host this special launch at the prestigious India AI Impact Summit 2026, here at the iconic Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi, a national stage where the future of artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, and sovereign innovation is being shaped. On behalf of NeevCloud, we sincerely thank each one of you for your presence today. Your time, your support, and your belief in India's technology future means great deal to us. Before we begin, a quick note, NeevCloud is also exhibiting live at hall number 3, booth number 3.4. We invite you all to visit us and experience the new NeevCloud up close. Today is not the launch of a product. Today is a launch of a renewed identity, a new vision, a new energy. Today we unveil the new NeevCloud, stronger, sharper, and built to enable India's enterprises and innovators to build and scale fearlessly. NeevCloud has evolved from infrastructure to intelligence, from scale to strategy, from cloud provider to transformation partner. And this evolution is what we celebrate today. Now, it is my honor to introduce our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Anshul Ruhil, is a global technology leader and entrepreneur whose journey from rural Haryana to international corporate leadership reflects resilience and vision. A former head of technology at LexisNexis Canada, he led large engineering teams and drove digital transformation across cloud, AI, SaaS, and big data platforms. He is also the co-founder of Ruhil Holdings and continues to contribute to India-Canada technology collaboration through advisory and entrepreneurial initiatives. His leadership reflects ambition, resilience, and future-focused thinking, values that resonate strongly with NeevCloud's new direction. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Anshul Ruhil. I would also request Mr. Naren Sen to facilitate Mr. Anshul Ruhil. May I have a big round of applause, please? We're now also awaiting another dignitary. He is in the Bharat Mandapam and will be reaching to the conference room soon. And to continue the session again, every transformation begins with the vision. And to share the journey behind this evolution and the philosophy of new NeevCloud, I invite the founder and chief executive officer of NeevCloud. Please welcome Mr. Narendra Sen.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today is a very exciting day for us as a company. We have a vision to build cloud for our country, and it's a long vision. When we started very early in our 2013, we started with building a data center company, and when we build a data center company in tier 2 location like Indore, we realized that we have to build fearlessly, bigger, better, and sustainable. And that's how we started Indore, then Raipur, and Maharashtra, JNPT, and then now we are going Assam. So building our AI-focused data centers. Then we we really want to connect this stake with our cloud. And 2 years back, we started NeevCloud to build a alternative for made in India, for American technology in competition with American technology, and we build NeevCloud. So NeevCloud vision to make cloud infrastructure affordable and available. How we are going to make it affordable and available? It is, day one is it has to be in sustainable location. It has to be low power costs. It has to low, supply chain costs, and then
the AI services, how we can build the AI control plane. It's an intelligent control plane. The way that we envision is it can handle the data that is in the ground. It can handle the data in future, what we are going to build at the space as well. So I see that as a next extended region for me in space. The data center building and other thing capabilities what we are doing, but I feel that it's an extended data center what we are going to build, and intelligent orchestration we are building. I'm proud we are putting our thoughts around the AI SuperCloud notion. That is why as we build the AI native infrastructure, I call the software layer as AI SuperCloud. I leave this stage with open. As we transform the AI narrative, I strongly feel that AI infrastructure has to be equipped with intelligence, and AI SuperCloud at NeevCloud, we are enabling it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijay. As NeevCloud evolves, collaboration becomes even more critical. Today, we are proud to formalize a strategic partnership with one of India's most pioneering space technology companies, Agnikul Cosmos. Please welcome on the stage Mr. Srinath Ravichandran, Chief Executive Officer, Agnikul Cosmos, Mr. Moin SPM, Chief Operating Officer and Co-founder, Agnikul Cosmos. I would also like to invite Chief Technology Officer, NeevCloud, Mr. Radhesham Galgama, to come and facilitate both of them. And now, we now proceed with the formal exchange of Memorandum of Understanding between NeevCloud and Agnikul Cosmos. I would like to invite Mr. Naren Sen, Chief Executive Officer, NeevCloud, Mr. Vijay Arunadar, Chief AI Officer, NeevCloud, for the formal exchange of Memorandum of Understanding. Have a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And now we invite our distinguished leaders for a roundtable discussion on the future of AI, infrastructure, innovation, and next-generation digital ecosystems. Compute beyond gravity, the business case for space-based AI infrastructure. Moderated by Mr. Shamsher Ansari. I would request you all to please come on the stage for the panel discussion. Mr. Naren Sen, Mr. Vijay Arunadar, and the Agnikul founders.
No, I think I'll stand here. then I can.
Can we have the mics arranged,
That
please?
will be good if I can pull that thing. Do you have one more mic?
You need one more mic.
No, I think it's fine. I can use this. Hello. Awesome. So it's a round table, but looks like we don't have a round table. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Shamsher Ansari. I am a group product manager at NeevCloud. I lead product strategy, and we are building a lot of exciting product at NeevCloud. But I think we are talking a lot about GPUs and launching in space, and there is no better person here on this stage than the founders of those companies, right, who have the vision to execute this, right? So we have Naren Sen, who is the founder and CEO of NeevCloud. We have Srinath, who is the founder of Agnikul Cosmos. I would like to start the conversation by introducing themselves, right, a little bit, so that we can understand what they do, and then we can go ahead with the quick questions. So I would like to start with maybe Srinath. You can introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do at Agnikul Cosmos.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Srinath. I'm one of the co-founders of this company called Agnikul. Unlike a lot of companies here, we build rockets that take satellites to space. So what are we doing here with NeevCloud, right? I think we'll come to that part of it later. But before that, what does Agnikul really do? I think a lot of you would have heard about this company called SpaceX, which is nowadays almost launching a rocket every other day. And of course, back home in India, we have ISRO, which also does its PSLV rockets and GSLV rockets. So all these rockets are bigger rockets, right? They carry a lot of mass to orbit. Agnikul, on the other hand, builds rockets for a lesser mass of satellites. We're talking about satellites less than 1 ton, less than half a ton, and so. It is called a small satellite, but it's still a fairly big number, actually. So that is what we built. Been around since 2017 formally as a company, but even before that, Moin and I were talking to each other about how to build a rocket company in India. But the idea is to put satellites in space on demand, keeping missions to space as flexible as possible. So we built a whole bunch of technology for that, starting from our rocket engines being completely 3D printed hardware, our autopilot and the software driving it being completely modular. The launch pad itself is mobile, so we can go to any launch location in the world and launch. So a bunch of these technologies, we figured all of these out over 7-8 years. And in 2024, we did a successful test launch. So that proved all the technologies that we have, and now we are on to commercialization. And about Neve itself, I think this journey starts way back with Moin, myself, and Naren talking, I think, 2019 or so. I was just looking up emails before coming to the event. And it was as early as 2019 when I think the first conversation started. But I think we'll talk more about space and why data centers in space. But I think the concept of taking energy directly from the sun and radiating it away directly into deep space is starting to make engineering sense now. It always made sense in the physics world. Now it's starting to make engineering sense. So that's why I think we are here. But yeah, I'd love to share more.
So I would like Moin to introduce yourself and just share with the audience what you do at Agnikul.
My name is Moin. I'm one of the co-founders of Agnikul. I think Srinath has given a good introduction about what we do. But I'll highlight a little bit about how Neve and Agnikul is going to work through along in this. I think satellites, I think in one way require energy. Infrastructure on ground requires energy. What if we tell you that energy is absolutely free? I think that particular thing is something that both of us are planning to work out and make sure that we provide the infrastructure that is required for the GPUs to work or for the data centers or for computing. So that's something that like Agnikul is very excited to do. And it's just not about having the energy alone free, right? Infrastructure requires a lot of cooling. Space is very cold. It gives you cooling also for free. And more importantly, there's one aspect that a lot of people have an interest about is the security. Physical security is the best there. You have to go physically to do something down there. In that perspective, I think space has a lot of advantage. I think Agnikul works as the bridge between the space and the ground, and that's exactly what a business model is as well. Point A being ground and point B being space. I think Neve is going to be one of our customers where we actually provide our upper stage as a platform to them to make sure that they build data centers and we be the platform for them. And I think let's see how this one goes along.
Awesome. Thanks for your introduction. I would like Naren to introduce yourself and just talk to audience what you actually do at NeevCloud. I think Naren is in data center business for a long time, and he's going to talk about why he's trying to put this GPU into the space and why this interaction is going to happen with Agnikul.
Hello, everyone. So I'm so much curious in my school time, and when I started working in CyberCafe, I'll give you a little bit background about my story. I saw first time internet after coming from village to the CyberCafe, and I couldn't operate. I just sit in front of the desktop and couldn't type because I don't know what to do and how to type. But fast forward, I work in CyberCafe, learn internet. First time I saw internet, and it's become my passion. And from them, we started thinking how to build a infrastructure, digital infrastructure in the country where the bringing power, fiber together was a challenge that time. You will get a land, but you will not get a fiber. If you get a fiber, you will not get a power. Bringing everything together is a cost, and that cost is huge. No startup can afford it. It's like a minimum 20 to 50 crore rupees to bring data center together. That's like I'm talking about 2014-15. When we started, we convinced government to build a data center park to solve our problem and their problem to bring the investor in the state. That's my first attitude towards solving the problem without capital. And then we solve that problem. We build a park, we build an AI park, everything we've done. Then we realize that there is no technology layer. We become only a real estate player, little bit with the advancement of technology. Then we build a technology layer, which is NeevCloud. Now we started when we realized that the entire world need and consume inference today from 200 millisecond away. How we can bring this, AI for all and near to user. So initially we called this project, long back the story Srinath shared that 2019, I went to their Madras campus, Chennai IIT Madras campus and sat in the canteen area and we discussed about this long back. And I still can, I was very excited, these guys are very excited, let's do this, something around that. But then we realized the time is not right because the entire ecosystem has to come together to build it. If you go very early in any kind of mission, you'll lose a lot of capital as a startup. So now the time is right. We want to solve the AI for all, and to solve that, you need to solve the latency problem. Then another challenge is like power and fiber and connectivity in the security. Today, it takes 24 months to build one data center physically. You have to secure land, you have to create a plinth, you have to build a building, then put the equipment, lot of supply chain, and then finally after 24 months, you are ready to serve your customer. But in this space, you just built in manufacture in the factory and deploy it in a lower Earth orbit. It's super fast, and you can't create every 100 miles one data center. Like you can create, but it is taking the similar time and efforts. So better to create in a space, so it will be available for everyone. And that's the thought process behind launching our Orion, we called it internally Orion, which is the orbital inferencing delivery network. So with the support of Agnikul, obviously without their support it is not possible. But together two innovators, two companies come together and build and solve this. 6 billion people are going to consume inferencing through our orbital edge data center. And that is very much required. Look at the unmanned vehicle. Look at the border security, the autonomous vehicle, or the sea need to be connected, and real-time compute is required. The Starlink has launched their constellation with the connectivity, but there is no computation. We are bringing the computational at the at the orbit, which will solve our immediate inferencing problem for critical workload. I'm saying critical workload. It's not going to be for general purpose. Maybe eventually will evolve and this business evolve and will bring for everyone. But this is for critical workload.
Yeah,
And
so I think
that's a thought behind that.
Yeah, we are going to talk more about the problems because if you don't have a problem, there is no need of solution, right? So ultimately, the problems that we see building data centers, then making it executable, making it making it available to the audience, making it available to AML engineers and developers, we see a lot of challenges. We'll talk about that, but before that, I want Vijay to introduce himself. I think he already did, but I want to just quickly introduce yourself.
Hello, check. Since Naren said he started with Cyber Cafe, it's just quickly popped up in my mind how I started with an engineering thing, right? I think I was in sixth. An astrologer said I will be a pilot, okay? And my mom said, yes, you have to be a pilot. Then, okay, we are pilot, right? We are seeing aeroplanes and all. And then as the years passed, I found pilot drives flight, right? My mind is how that is operating. That is the spark. I decided my engineer, I have to be an engineer, right? And I decided, and I'm till now, I made my vision at that time. Though I just popped up in my mind when you said you started your career in Cyber Cafe. Myself, I have already introduced. I am a very core technology. I see problems how to solve in an engineering way. That's my vision always. It could be anything what I do. The way I see through is problem solving through engineering way. Thank you. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with the problem. What problem we face today on Earth? I think Naren already talked about it a little bit, right? So currently we are running out of land, we are running out of electricity, we are running out of water, and there is a need of it because AI is scaling really fast, and it won't stop. So we have to make sure that this capacity, GPU capacity, is available. And we also want to make sure that it's accessible to all AML engineers who are building these AML applications on top of it, right? So what is the current problem, Naren, that you see today in the market, and why you decided that you need to partner with Agnikul to launch the GPU in space?
I think I explained in a brief, but the problem is the speed. The speed which AI is growing, the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure is not growing with that speed. And that's the biggest challenge the entire world is facing. That today we have reduced drug discovery time by 8 years to 2 years, and eventually we can reduce it further when the compute is available, fairly available for the research. And similarly in other areas. So that's a speed problem we are facing. And it is going to be continue supply chain issues. And that's where we decided to go in this path to solve it, manufacture the edge data center and deliver at site with the help of Agnikul, and enable and take their help to deliver it fast. So that is the speed problem right now we are solving.
That's
more
true.
than anything.
Yeah, I like the word fast because ultimately that's what we are talking about. If we keep building the data center on Earth, then it will take like 2 to 5 years to do, and there are a lot of challenges, right? The land challenge, the electricity challenge, the water challenge. So that's why we are also partnering with Agnikul. So I want to understand from Srinath, why do you started putting these payloads on space, and what are the different use cases that you are currently solving, and how does GPU fit into this orbit?
So I'll talk a little bit about rockets just so that it may look a little bit like a lecture, but please put up with me because it will form the framework in which you can understand this. Otherwise, it'll just look like a fancy jargon that we're using, right? So every rocket usually has stages. If you've seen any of the PSLV launches, you'll know, right? It goes to a certain level. Once the fuel tanks are empty, that dead mass is dropped off, the remaining continues. This keeps happening till you're only left with the satellite that you want to put in space. And there is a small part of the rocket that is attached to it pushing the satellite. This is usually how rockets work. And as I told you, everything is discarded. Typically, as and when you use up your rocket fuel, those tanks and stuff are discarded. What we are doing here is on the upper stage, the part which is holding the satellite, which is usually discarded as debris, we came up with an idea to convert it into a functional platform so that it is not simply discarded as waste, but it continues to operate in space. So in essence, it's becoming a platform, right? It's an asset in space. And why this is possible is because for the rocket's own functioning, you need to have data access, telemetry, you need to have compute, you need to have navigation, you need to have an ability to generate power, you need to have an ability to cool whatever electronics are running. So all of these things, a version of that anyway a rocket demands, irrespective of the nature of what is riding on the rocket. Right? So that part of it is what we actually extended and we have made a platform out of it. Now, what is happening in the context of hosting servers or hosting GPUs is the same platform because it's functional, like what Naren was talking about, right? Getting land, getting power, getting connectivity. Those three things are automatically being, hidden in the upper stage of a rocket. There's no land. Instead, that is the upper stage platform. Power is coming from solar energy. You can convert it. You can provide cooling by, radiating the heat away. And there is anyway data link because the rocket's upper stage has to talk to the ground. And because satellites have already figured out data rates of even up to 800, 900 Mbps with just one satellite and on the low power side, data transfer is also available. So this looked like a nice platform on which many things can be hosted. And because of the advantage of getting solar energy and radiating heat away, it becomes a very easy fit for a data center. So I think so what Moin and I think about the upper stage of a rocket is it is the platform on which a data center can be easily hosted, right? That is how this synergy comes together.
That sounds really interesting, and I think everyone should have got the idea of how they are going to launch the rocket and why they are using the upper stage of the rocket. Like one of the challenge in this space, or one of the challenge on the Earth is the heat that GPU generates, because GPU needs a lot of computing power, and when it processes your inferencing request, it generates a heat. And that is why we have to use the cooling techniques. There are different cooling techniques that have been emerged, water cooling, liquid cooling, and immersion techniques all have been emerged. But I think, Moin, you mentioned that there is no cooling problem in this space, right? So when we set up this Agni-Cool things on our booth, a lot of people came and asked, how are you going to cool the GPUs in this space? Because GPU generates a lot of heat, right? So what are you going to do with that? And I think you mentioned it's already available, it's already free. So can you talk a little bit about how the cooling works in this space and how GPU can work over there?
I guess first thing is we need to understand the environment of space, right? It's in vacuum. That's the first way to actually look at it. And second, the temperatures are very, very, very cold. So if you do not have the direct sun hitting on your solar panels, the obvious choice is it will be cooled. So that's the fundamental basic. The ambient temperature that what we speak on ground and the ambient temperature what we speak in space is completely different. It's not the same. And that starts with that. I think I would also highlight, see, when you build infrastructure, you're betting a lot on a lot of things. The new jargon that has come up is defrastructure. Do not put a lot of things on the infrastructure. I can't imagine a data center to be defrastructure, just to apply that word defrastructure in this context. And how do we do that? I think the right fit that comes along is constellation of data centers. because the constellation itself is called breaking into multiple things, and each of them performs as a single unit, and then you connect it back. For the data centers, this is a very great fit, because for the rest of the things, it has to be like, tied up about how you want to communicate in the mission or what needs to be done there. But here, the objective is very clear. You break down the infrastructure cost, you put it into the other aspects where it could be independently built. And in our case, in this partnership, that problem of infrastructure is going to be provided by us. So that actually helps and allows you to scale a lot more better than what you intend to do, and that's really exciting. And one other thing that we've noticed is with respect to the space environment itself. What you decide today, in the next 3 to 4 years, that becomes redundant or that almost becomes like ineligible to use because the technology is growing. What electronics that you use today is not going to be the same electronics that you'll use in the next 3 years. So building an infrastructure, not in terms of building GPU, but for building the cooling systems, for building the civil works, you're going to spend a lot of time on that. So the question is just not just for people around here or in this panel, it's for everybody to think, and I think that's what happened in the recent days. I think like we had Elon Musk talking about it, we had Sam Altman talking about it. Everybody wants to start thinking space as the thing because there is this opportunity that is really available. Now going back to the conversation, Narendra, Srinath and me had this conversation 6 years before. I think right now we are at the point where we are actually collaborating. So what we want to do in the next 3 years is by the time the technology will still grow. I think we are in this cat and mouse game. But the best part of it is like the temperature, the space in all of these things is going to be the same. That's not going to change in the context. And so the cooling is absolutely going to be free even at that point of time. So it just depends upon how we approach the problem statement and solve it.
Perfect. So I think he rightly mentioned that even if you put the infrastructure in space, that can be, go out of range, or maybe the GPUs that we are putting in this space. Even on Earth, the average lifespan of GPU is 3 to 5 years. It's not that after 5 years it will be dead, but during those 3 to 5 years, there will be a lot of new advancement that will come into the picture, right? So NVIDIA launched NVIDIA Rubin platform, right? Which is way faster than the previous generation of GPUs, right? So you have to make sure that as a business, you are also getting the best ROI out of your investment, right? As an investor, if you're investing in any of these companies, right, you also want to make sure that your investment returns is good, right? So once the GPU is put together on Earth or a space, I want to understand from Vijay, now that the GPU is put on space, how do you make it accessible to AI ML engineers? Because as an engineer, I only care about, I need a powerful access to the GPU. I don't care about whether it is on Earth or whether it is on space. So how do you make sure when this GPUs are available in space, how you can make it accessible to AI ML engineers through the infrastructure that you guys have built at NeevCloud?
Sure. I just wanted to comment on the previous question before I take this one, right? See, the way that I think building a space-based AI data center, we are not going to build a high computing power data center at all. The way that I'm thinking is it's a edge orbital data center, right? It's a very minimal, the space-based edge portion of it, it will handle a very minimal intelligence portion. That's why in my during the launch of AI SuperCloud and the NeevCloud, I was explaining how intelligently we can orchestrate the data. I'm not going to have a heavy lifting at space at all. I was going through a lot of research papers of Elon Musk and SpaceX, how the thought process are there. And there are some of the thought process from Google as well. I'm trying to a little bit change the logic, what they were thinking. This is a bit of an early stage of comment, but we are still trying to do that. A bit of sensor that will try to do an analytics, and then how we process the data from Earth, and then send the intelligence, use the intelligence at space, and process the heavy lifting in the ground, right? I was also reading about space, and then I also thought about like when the satellite reaches the sun, when the satellite faces the sun, I understand it's 60% of the time it faces the sun, right? We can process heavy lifting of the data to process at that time, because we can do two handling there. One, I can store the energy and I can recharge my battery. I can also use the computing power. And when the satellite reaches the eclipse region, I will use low inferencing intelligence and use the battery to make sure I'm keeping the capacity of the battery, right? Trying to keep it more technical, trying to explain it, the realistic thought and the research what we did, not to be a fancy as well to make it real, right? To answer this question, I feel from developer perspective, they don't care where you build your data center. They all care about, do my API is accessible? Is that you are providing a reliable infrastructure for me where the API, I can get the compatibility of it. From developer point of view, what we are solving is from the latency point of view, ultra low latency is what we are thinking about it. How, as a developer, are you providing the backward API compatibility? Are you providing the same SDK? You build in space or you build anywhere in the world or above the world, right? Their worry is all about, I need a API which I access from data center or the space. The enhancement what we are doing is we are going to give for the fast real-time inferencing because of the demand from the industry, the medical industry, healthcare industry, which is growing. So we are trying to enhance that one. That's what I would prefer from developer perspective. I would keep it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I think you've got the idea of what NeevCloud is doing and what Agnikul is doing and how they are collaborating with each other to make sure this compute is accessible from Earth and also from the space, right? So I think we are ready to take some questions. If you guys have, you can ask. Sarthak. You don't have extra mic?
Yeah, hi, Narendra. Nice seeing you. This is Ravi Pandikonta. I'm from Tech Mahindra. I just wanted to understand, how do we keep economy of scale? What would be the cost of per GB to interact either on Earth or space?
Thanks, Ravi. As the nature of our company and the vision of the company is to make infrastructure affordable and available. And that's a thought process behind building our basic traditional data center or AI-focused data center. When we started thinking about this space, this is the workload which is going to be critical for border security area and for mainly for defense, autonomous vehicle, and the factories which is unconnected or the areas where they don't have a compute real time. So that problem we are solving through the orbital edge inferencing. And the cost compared to SpaceX, which is deploying the, so I'm pretty sure that our cost is going to be, because of the Agnikul innovative approach and our business plan, we will be able to reduce cost by 30% at least. This is because the metal is metal, chips is chips. They are buying in bulk and with the quantity, but we are using AI accelerated, not the NVIDIA traditional chips. So that's a start from there. Then they're starting how you are sending, what is the per kg, load. So that's how they are the expert into that, and how you are going to operate affordably. So putting everything together, we believe it is going to be 30% cheaper than our nearest competitions. But this is going to be utilized by critical workload. So people don't care about the cost. They care about, like, in defense, you don't care about the border security. You just put it. So, so this is for a very, very critical workload, not for the traditional workload. Hope it answers. Thanks.
So just to add to that point, I will try to draw it in three categories, right? One is like this setup cost. Let's say you're setting up a data center. That cash flow part is pretty much taken out here, and instead it is replaced by launch cost, right? So that is one variable, and that drastically reduces the way the cash flow is distributed itself. So there are a lot of things like opportunity cost that you're gaining by where else you can deploy that cash. That is in the deployment phase. Next comes the operating phase. In operating phase, you're here looking about generating power and then also managing the heat generated. Now, as Moin was saying, cooling is practically free if you just orient yourself away from the sun. So that part of it is almost minimal. If you compare energy to energy, the energy needed to cool a data center on Earth versus in space you would almost become fractionally going to zero. The more you do this, it's almost tending to zero. On the generation side, I think because you're directly getting it from solar energy, I think the efficiency there is limited by the solar cell efficiency only. But here again, there is a deployment cost of the energy, right? If you're putting it in a remote place, the data center, again the cash required. Because we have practical experience of getting, a 2 megawatt line or a 3 megawatt line for our own facility, and we know if there is no EB line available, that itself becomes a line cost. Then you put a transformer, then you have to manage that. All of those things are eliminated in the operating part of it. So that is in the running part of it. And finally, getting the data back part, right? This is a problem that the space industry has independently solved anyway. Now, because for example, if you look at the transponders that Starlink is using, you're able to, at a consumer level, even at a low grade, you're able to reach 100 Mbps. Right now, if you're talking about enterprise level, easily even a Gbps is possible. And then with that, if you augment a constellation of data centers, that whole thing can also scale better. So deployment is going to be almost like zero cost to start off. Then you're slowly building and you're running it at lower cost, and then you're sending the data also with a lower cost. So that is where the economics start to play. But I think depending upon the application, maybe the user here doesn't even care. Yeah, all this is there, but I'm getting a data center where I otherwise didn't even have it. So that may override the aspect of your question as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the details. Any other questions from backside?
Yeah, I have one curiosity. I'm Dr. Shubh Gupta. I am an assistant professor in JNU. So I have one curiosity that how do you acquire a place in space? Like, is there some kind of auction which takes place? How do you get a place in orbit? So is there a country-wise auction that every country is trying to deploy, is trying to acquire the space in this space? So what is the concept and what are the laws relating to it, and where India is placed in the international law arena? Thank you very much.
So first things first, it's like an orbital real estate. So there is an agency of the United Nations. It's called the United Nations Outer Office of Space Affairs that actually regulates the orbit. Literally tells you like you are destined this orbit for a period of time, which means after the time frame that has been allocated to you, you're supposed to initiate a deorbiting protocol and allow that space for somebody else. So there is a regulatory agency that actually takes care of this. Yeah, India has been a spacefaring nation, so all of these things have actually been established for the last 50 years itself. So there's nothing new to be figured out. In that way, we are actually sorted, I could say. And more importantly, yes, we've been a treaty. We've been a party to the Moon Treaty. We've been a party to the space laws that have been existing with the United Nations. So I think being a spacefaring nation and being regularly visiting the space for the last 20 years has allowed us to actually navigate these regulatory frameworks very easily. So in that way, you're sorted, I guess.
And now with the establishment of InSpace, a single point agency for regulating private work there, this has also become streamlined from an operational standpoint. So everything that Moin said, instead of running from government to government, we can have a single point to get this. So if you want to put up a satellite in space, literally the framework for what are the various forms to be filled, applications to be made, approvals to be had, is now available through a single point system.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll take one last question. So if you guys can. Yeah. Please. Can you pass on the mic, please?
Hello. My question was what about the maintenance part of the data centers? If something goes wrong, are we taking it as a business expense and sending another one, or is there a way to fix it?
So there are two aspects to it, right? I think actually going and meeting a satellite or object in orbit is its own technology. It's like interception or rendezvous technology, which is actually quite expensive. And today, I think India has just demonstrated that as a technology. So the way today satellite constellations are dealing with that is no single unit has too much risk. In fact, that is one of the reasons why the most commercially viable orbit has come to this, what we call as low Earth orbit, right? About 400 kilometers above Earth. The reason for that is you put up a lot of satellites there and no single point risk exists. So if you have a real problem that cannot be fixed, then you basically allow that to deorbit and come back. And because of that, the mission is not affected. compared to the past, like say if you're in geostationary orbit, you'll only have one satellite, or worst case, two satellites, and there's huge risk. One element in one satellite failing means end of mission. An example of that, again, we could take any of these large constellation builders like Starlink, or I think now Amazon has also put it up. Every day they on a steady rate lose about 2 to 3 satellites. This could be because of solar winds. This could be because of other radiation effects. But it has come to a point where the economics doesn't even matter. It's a incremental point, and you see that failure as an opportunity to upgrade your hardware. So the next launch you'll compensate for it, but by that time you would actually have a better hardware in place. But the other aspect of it, this is all like correction, right? Preventive aspect of it is to just use radiation hardened GPUs. So there is now research happening on what is the amount of data, that bit flip that happens typically as errors in compute, right? How much radiation is needed for today's GPUs to have the bit flip to happen? How can you harden that? How can you make it that, for a particular quantum of radiation, the number of bit flips is becoming lesser? So I think the next generation of GPUs will actually solve for that. Because today, in the last, I think, 1 year, space-based GPUs are becoming a thing. So new metrics for GPUs will start, right? The lightest GPUs will start to come out as a metric. Similarly, GPUs which are more tolerant to radiation will come. So those will be on the preventive side.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll take one more question. I think someone from there raise a hand. We'll take last question, I think.
Yeah, so last question, right? Yeah, so we are seeing a lot of such partnerships like NeevCloud and Agnikul being announced recently. So is collaboration the way forward for India's technology growth is what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, if that's a question or a statement, I think I would prefer that to be a statement actually.
Yeah, it looks like a statement.
We'll leave it at that actually. So it's a good statement, so I guess that's the way forward. Yeah.
I'm Natarajan here. If satellite is damaged, will we have it?
Closer to your...
If satellite is damaged, we will be keeping our data in ground also in the data center, cloud.
Backups are always going to be done there, sir. I think the probability of not getting it damaged is what you're actually working in space. And it's always a trade-off between a replacement of the entire satellite versus maintaining the satellite. That's what Srinath was talking about. So it's a choice that you have because you get to upgrade a newer hardware. But in terms of data, you'll obviously have backups in terms of on the ground, even though it is in space. So in that way, it should be covered.
From the software perspective, I see, for instance, we are talking about sovereign cloud, right? Data, in ground. It's the same in space as well. I see the constellation of satellites as a node. We call it node. If a GPU fails in data center, we transform the data to a next GPU availability, right? The same way, if a satellite in a GPU fail, I see that as a cluster of data that is transferred. We maintain all the sovereign policies, governance, etc. Irrespective of it's going to be in space or in land. That's the way that I see from the software perspective. So the data is protected, hardware failures are handled, the hardened infrastructure has to be there from the radiation aware. I think it's a pretty much solvable problem that will take care of the data safely.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excuse me. Do you mind if I ask a small question?
We can connect back after the session. You can.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry.
Hello. I think we have had a really great insight through this panel. Thank you, Shamsher. And now, as we conclude this powerful launch moment at the India AI Impact Summit 2026, we thank you once again for your presence and encouragement and belief. And now, may I also request, and meanwhile, I think we've got another guest of honor as well with us, Mr. Shubh Gupta. I would also request Mr. Naren Sen, founder and CEO NeevCloud, to provide a memento to Mr. Shubh Gupta. Dr. Shubh Gupta. I would request another guest of ours. Dr. Shubh Gupta is an assistant professor in the group of adult education in the School of Social Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, an interdisciplinary scholar bridging technology and society, with academic training in computer science, sociology, and a PhD on the social impact of artificial intelligence. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Yeah. Now, before we close the complete session, I would request the team to play again the launch video, and then we commemorate this occasion and of launching the new NeevCloud to build and scale fearlessly. Can we have a launch video played, please? Thank you everyone. And before we just end up, I would request our guest of honor, Mr. Anshul Ruhil, to come and speak a little bit about our engagement and about the NeevCloud.
Well, good morning or afternoon now. Good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, guys, you guys are rocking, really. It's a great honor to be sharing the stage with all of you. I'm part of Tesla and SpaceX and LexisNexis, a different organization in North America. It's a proud to see that all happening here, because we were part of that for last 1 decade, and I never thought that this will be happening like that in India. But now what you are doing is really, really good, and I think it's self-sustainable. The way you are doing it, even it is obviously well priced also, based on a lot of things that I read. So thank you so much for that, and making all of us proud and staying ahead in the technology. And these are the companies, I think, I don't call them startup. I think these are the real innovators who will make the difference, and disruptors is the real word. Startup, I don't know why we say that. But so please keep doing that, make all of us proud, and whole India or Bharat as well as the world is ready to follow you. Thank you so much, and best of luck. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. We once again invite you to visit us at Hall 3, booth number 3.4. And thank you, and have a wonderful summit ahead, guys. Thank you, everyone.